Okay, so at time of recording this, Echo is probably down the boss about 10 minutes ago. About 25 to 30 minutes ago, I was supposed to leave for something, and thus we have to record this right now. Echo had a really long day today. Oh my god.
They woke up at 4 a.m. They killed the boss at like 12:05 a.m. the next day. So yeah, 20 hours after most of them woke up, the boss ended up going down. I mean, the reset was 5. Some of them woke up after 4 a.m. But yeah, very long day for Echo. The reset went pretty well, I think, for Echo up until Tindral, where Tindral, I mean, they did kill it. They killed it at the end of their day, sort of similar to Liquid. Liquid killed it at the end of their day, but Liquid had a shorter reset day, of course, because Liquid's reset is not at 5 a.m. It's later than that. So yeah, I think Liquid probably gained 4 or so hours in the race today.
I mean,
based on how Liquid and Echo did.
I think if Liquid didn't kill, or if Echo didn't kill Tindral today, this would have been a very different video. I think it just feels okay. So relative to like how much time you're actually losing, it's not really that much, but in regards to like how bad it would have felt to just be on the like Echo not killing it after you watched Liquid kill it on your equivalent today, and then it's just like you see their Fyrakk progression. Like we can cut back to this. Liquid is basically progging like the intermission / P2. They're doing like a decent amount of intermission progression is what they're actually doing right now. It would have felt horrible if you were Echo and you weren't able to get it down. So it was nice to get it down at the last pull. It's unfortunate that it took them 4 hours more than necessary, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's not actually different especially because they're not reaching it first. They're not getting important information from Fyrakk, right?
Yeah.
They pulled Fyrakk once or twice as a meme afterwards, but unlike Liquid, it's not like, oh wow, we got there first, turn off streams, let's get some info, right? But it is definitely important for morale. But that being said, like Smolderon, they didn't kill Smolderon on the same day that Liquid did, right? Even they killed it the morning after the day that Liquid would have killed it, like equalizing the times or whatever. So, and then they came back on Tindral and they got back ahead on that boss for some progression of Tindral, right? When we were at that 40%-ish mark, Echo was, trading the lead with Liquid. So they could certainly have done the same on Fyrakk if they hadn't killed tonight, but it would have been a big blow to morale. It would have been a big test of their mental resilience. And it would have definitely been a tier where, I mean, they are certainly once again underdogs, but they're definitely still in this thing, and it depends on how difficult it is to take Fyrakk from 70 to 0, right?
So typically an Echo Race World first win looks like they're consistently catching up in progression, right?
Right.
Where they start, 13 hours behind, and then they catch up, whether it be due to just playing better, whether it be due to like watching strats, whether it be due to whatever. But it requires them to catch up at some point, right? Like they have to catch up. And so typically what a Race World first win looks like for Echo is they're constantly playing catch up. And then about the time that the guilds reach the final boss, it's about even, right? And then it's just kind of a foot race finish. Right now, it's not necessarily even. Echo is about like their full 13 hours like disadvantage behind. Like they're basically like
and some change even maybe.
Yeah, they're maybe a raid day behind even, where Liquid would kill the boss, and it might be more than a raid day even potentially.
Yeah, it's hard to quantify exactly because, they will have gotten a lot of value from watching Liquid prog P1 Fyrakk. So they may come back in tomorrow and they may be able to do what Liquid took 50 or 100 pulls in like 20 or 30, right? And if that happens, then all of a sudden we could well be tied up once again. But yeah, this is, a couple days ago we were saying like, oh yeah, it's back to 50-50. I think it is not 50-50 anymore. I think it is, Liquid have an advantage of equity that, if Fyrakk dies in the next 2 days is huge. If Fyrakk dies in 4 days, it's moderate. And if Fyrakk dies in more than 4 days, it doesn't matter at this point.
I mean, I don't have necessarily a POV of it. I mean, I have like the end of the Liquid kill here, and it doesn't exactly show what was wrong. But for both of the guilds, we talked about there being potential for an overlap that we had yet to see that was very dangerous. And that overlap happened at about 5% on the boss's HP. And that's actually what caused both Liquid and Echo a lot of problems, right? There was this overlap where you would have the seeds come out right about the same time as the bird dive bomb happened, right about the same time where like the roots came out, and it got so close to one another over the course of the entire final phase that the last just segment, and you also have like the starfall like beams of
Yeah, the biggest problem with that, like the overlap of roots into seeds with feathers before is pretty common, but that's the only time in the fight where it exists while there's like 20 fire beams on the platform during the dragon riding,
Yeah.
which those beams are fully vertical and they one-shot you if you touch them. So
I mean,
that was something that took several pulls of Prague.
Yeah, I mean, people started using Spell Ward, Netherwalk, Cloak,
Yeah.
because in case you accidentally hit the beam,
Yeah.
you didn't want to just
It makes
immediately
sense.
die. Yeah. But it took a lot of progging, and it was a situation where I think Liquid had to hit it, 10 times, and they actually hit it 10 times in the span of an hour and killed the boss. Echo needed to hit it 10 times, and they hit it 10 times in the span of 4 hours and killed the boss, right, or whatever. I feel like Echo was actually Echo was less consistent than Liquid, but they were also playing on an 18-hour day. It is ridiculous to even talk about.
I was surprised they kept going. Even I thought the fatigue would have been something where they would have looked at it and been like, "This isn't worth." But I mean, they got it. So they got it on literal LG of the night. That was the last pull, whether they killed it or not. So pull 399. They took it down.
I think we'll talk about Fyrakk mechanics tomorrow. I think that probably tomorrow is the best time to really discuss the mechanics of the boss. Okay, so you're talking about equity. How much equity are you giving Liquid right now? Are you back to 70-30?
Yeah, I think so. I think 70-30 is fair.
I mean,
what do you think?
They're looking pretty good on the boss. They're looking pretty good on Fyrakk. I mean, I think 70-30 is pretty reasonable. Like they're okay. So I mean, you see 61%. That's basically, they're 56 pulls.
There's a lot of boss left.
Yeah, there's a lot of boss left. It looks like it's a 2 lust fight as well.
Interesting.
So, the boss has a lot of HP, and you spend a lot of time not hitting the boss.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it might end up being a 2 lust fight. We'll see. Any chance of a mythic phase? I feel like I haven't heard any rumors about a mythic phase. It's always possible, I guess.
Yeah, always possible. As I think a mythic phase. I think a mythic phase would be surprising given the design of Fyrakk, but it didn't really fit in on Jailer either to have a mythic phase, and they threw one in there. So
well, it didn't fit in N'Zoth
I think
either.
it would make sense. Yeah, well, the N'Zoth one was pretty weird. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, overall though, I think this is a much different video if Echo doesn't kill the boss. Overall, I think that they had about what we expected for the reset. Unfortunately, it was maybe people were holding their breath a little bit at the very end. They ended up getting all of the bosses killed off. They killed exactly what we needed to with Tindral Sageswift, matching Liquid's Reclear. And I wish I had eye level numbers, but we'll talk about that tomorrow. We got stuff to do. I got stuff to do. And then happy Thanksgiving, I guess, tomorrow.
Hopefully an earlier night tomorrow. We'll be able to record this a little bit faster. But yeah, we'll see you guys then. Later.
Goodbye.